Let's face facts, with added economic pressures on unit owners, it's much harder for committees like yours to get communal fees in and cover your expenses. Because of this, you may be reluctant to ask your fellow property owners for anything more than the absolute minimum to keep your building ticking over. And you're probably thinking that if you set your communal fees any higher, your property owners just won't pay them. But in this video, I go through the risks of cutting costs and how you can help avoid this through proper contingency planning. I get it, keeping costs down is generally a good idea, especially if you're having trouble collecting unpaid communal fees. But you must be careful not to cut corners or make short-term savings that will really going to cost you a lot more in the long term. As a committee, you do have a legal responsibility to maintain your building, and failure to do so could cause problems down the line. This is one of the reasons I always recommend committee liability insurance. And if you want to know more about this, there are some articles on my website, CyprusCommunalGuide.com. Anyway, back to cutting costs. One of the most common mistakes when trying to cover a cash shortfall is to cut your maintenance budget, or worse, remove it altogether. And again, before you start shouting at the screen, I get it. We live in the real world, and if there's no money in your bank, then you have no choice. Maintenance, along with cleaning, are generally one of the first things to be sacrificed. But you know, if you don't keep on top of the small maintenance jobs in your building, many of these small items will worsen over time, costing far more to fix later. That couple of hour job to fix an external crack can end up in thousands of euros of water damage. So you haven't really saved any money there. What you can end up with is a development that looks tired, poorly maintained, which will lower your property value and make it more difficult for unit owners to find tenants. And this can also give the building a bad reputation, which is especially damaged if one of the main sources of income for your property owners is holiday rentals. I have an entire article about the importance of online reviews on the website as well. So, what's the end result of cutting costs? Owners that don't want to pay their charges and a near derelict site. So actually, by trying to keep owners' payments low, hoping it will increase your collections, you can inadvertently make things a lot worse. If you're already at that stage, there is still hope, but it's going to be a difficult path to recovery. I do offer assistance in this, so please feel free to send me an email or send me a message through Facebook. The first defense against this situation is proper budget planning, making sure you have accurate budgets for your expenses and making sure that you factor in a budget for bad debt. I cover creating budgets in my book, The Ultimate Committee Handbook, and I've held entire seminars dedicated to this subject, so keep an eye out as I do run these quite often. The second defense is having some contingency in place to cover any expenses outside of your predicted budget. I generally advise my clients to allocate approximately 10% of the total annual budget, and I find that this is usually enough for any unexpected maintenance that happens during that year. However, if you have a backlog, you may want to first allocate an initial lump sum to clear this backlog, and you'll include this either as part of your normal budget, or you can create it as a separate special budget so your unit owners know why and where this extra money is going to go. Again, a reminder that there are lots of resources on this subject on the website and in my book. If you're lucky enough not to need this contingency, then at the end of the financial year, you can decide to either refund it to your unit owners, reallocate it for another project, or carry it over to the next financial year, which will lower the communal fees that owners have to pay. What you can't do is have a large bank account rolling over and over year on year, which is unallocated for any specific purpose. The reason for this is there are a couple of recent court rulings which went against a couple of committees who were taking debtors to court. The court ruled that as the development had large amounts of unallocated cash assets, it could not justifiably ask for more money from unit owners for ongoing operational expenses. While I personally disagree with this, as it's, in my opinion, common sense to have some savings for the unexpected, and it also helps with cash flow and to cover any large future projects. It is the courts that have the final say. A way to help avoid this problem, in my opinion, is to have a budget but have it for a specific future expense. For example, if you know your building needs a repaint in 5 years and you think that's going to cost around €10,000, then why not saving for this now and put that into a repainting fund rather than just a generic contingency fund. And of course, if something else comes up in the next 5 years and you need to reallocate this money, well, so be it. Just make sure you have this budget voted into place at the AGM with a caveat that it can be used for other items in an emergency. Now, of course, there's no guarantee this won't have a similar problem if it's tested in court, but in my opinion, it gives you a much better fighting chance. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed to this channel, you can click on the subscribe button below, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to make sure you're notified when new videos are released. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. I do check these and will answer them. I'm Russell Flick from the Cyprus Communal Guide, where we help you unlock your building's true potential. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.